Hello, Insanity Bonanni. It's just gone 7:32 Central African Time. Welcome to Baku.
Hello, Insanity
We
Bonanni.
should be having a fantastic 26 laps of racing around this famed street circuit, Azerbaijan. We've seen Tier 2 fight it out on this very street circuit. Well, supremely entertaining race, it must be said. And, as is customary with Tier 1, will not be surprised if we get similarly fantastic racing around here. It's a full qualifying session, and even though we do have a reduced grid as far as numbers are concerned, Breakaway is such that we still can have absolutely scintillating racing. We saw the Wingless Wonder yesterday. Soundly Mazanti put on a titanic tussle against some of the midfield runners yesterday. He ran so many laps without a wing and eventually fought back to claim a podium spot alongside the 86er, who was similarly, thrilling towards the end of that Tier 2 race. But this is the top tier. Mandla is here. That's Romeo. Tapiso. Ngawako, a.k.a. D-Wax, is here, as is Titus. It's good to see Titus on the grid this season. For the first time this season, Liddy T is here on behalf of McLaren. Of course, his teammate Van Kobe, unfortunately, not on the grid as things currently stand. All these drivers will have 18 minutes in this Q1 session. It's a full qualifying session, of course. All they need to do is just keep the car on track, set a representative time, and it's a no pressure situation up until that battle for pole position. Kaboza has just joined the ranks, so the grid as it stands are the five that I've mentioned. M. Shengu is here representing Mercedes. His teammate Melo the Mello is unfortunately not here. Lungs is here, as is Brown Boy. So Red Bull represented in full here today. Loveness is on the grid, as is Anlebo, and his teammate C-Clay, of course, championship leader. And here comes the duo of Cepiso and one of the Red Bulls going out onto track. That is Lungs. And of course, C-Clay is here as well. Hello, Tier 1. We welcome Titus. That is Tabang Emanguni. Yes, Tabang, it's good to see Titus on track. The former champion, of course. A lot always expected when he's on the grid and on the circuit. And C-Clay has been scintillating this year, as has the likes of Malusi the Malusi and Josh, aka Damnesia, of course. They've been looking really, really good this year. 16 minutes in this qualifying session to go. All they need to do is just keep it on track. Some words of welcome back to the former champion, that being Titus. He's still in the paddock, in the garage, just putting some final touches to that Aston Martin. And that'll be good news for Inati as well. That's Titus's teammate, of course. Inati so far has scored just the 1 point, and Titus taking part in this race is is going to be desperate to put a string of appearances together, and indeed a decent points finish. Now Titus has a fantastic opportunity. With just the 12 drivers represented on the grid. I'm not sure why this man, Liddy T, has opted to go for a set of intermediate tires. Perhaps he's just giving that car... Yeah, and as you can see, he's already wingless on his outlap, so Liddy T was perhaps just looking to get a feel for the track on those intermediates, but in these dry conditions, it was not such a good idea. He has lost a wing already, so he's going to have to... that McLaren team is going to have its work cut out in this session. Now, Cepiso should be among the first to set a representative lap, but we are going to ride on board with this man, Lungs, whose best finish thus far is actually his only finish for the season, which was that P3 back in Jeddah at the previous race. So, Lungs is desperate for points up here. He already has a podium in his one and only finish, and we now hop on board. He abandons that lap. Liddy T has totaled his car. Liddy T loses his car. On the way back to the grid. Well, that's unfortunate for Liddy. All he needed to do was really just keep it together here. But no, unfortunately, that will not be the case. All right, let's hop on board instead with Enlebo, who is one of the two drivers as things stand, or three if you count Sequay, to be setting a representative lap. Now, Sequay is further ahead than his teammate Enlebo, that we're riding on board with here in Sector 1. Let's see what kind of a gauntlet he can lay down. Just 36.3 by the end of the first sector. It is not the quickest thus far. I suspect that man who's lighting up the timesheet is Sequay a little bit further ahead. And Level has a moment. He hits the wall there at the beginning of the castle section. He's going to have to play it very, very carefully. Time is at an absolute premium here. All he needs to do is just set a representative lap and just breathe and not get his car totaled. Like Liddy did so early in the session. Yellow flag in Sector 1, and Levo will pay no mind, but he will hit the wall there towards the end of Sector 2. How much damage has he taken? The wing looks like it's still intact, but Enlebo will not have enjoyed that at all. By now, Sequay crosses the line with a 142.505, the first of the representative lap times out here in Baku on this famous street circuit. We have about 12 minutes, 45 seconds of Q1 to go, and Level will look to join his teammate, hopefully towards the top of the standings. It's a 143.5 for the Haas driver. He's got that banker lap in his pocket, and he will be quite happy with that. D-Wax is going to complete his lap to slot into P3 on the standings. It's a 143.882 for the Alpha Tauri driver. D-Wax and Mandla are here, and they're looking to make their mark on this Q1 timesheet. Now, Lungs is on the verge of beginning his attempt in earnest. So, in fact, we'll catch up with Mshengu, who is on the verge of completing his. And let's hop on board with Malusi, the Malusi's teammate. It is Sector 3 now, but doesn't look like he's anywhere near a fast lap time. So, we might have actually abandoned that time a little bit earlier than we currently see. So, let us go back to Lungs, who we were on board with some time ago, but he did abandon his attempt. Kaboza has opted for the Liddy strategy of coming out initially on those intermediates. Lungs abandons once again. Well, I'm not sure what the thinking is at Red Bull, but I'm pretty sure they'll have a lot to say about him. Titus, former champion, represented on the grid for the first time this season. What can he do? It looks like that 36.7 is going purple, but that might be the case, or indeed Sequay could have the fastest time. Sometimes we do see, of course, the glitching as far as purple sectors on that track map are concerned. Ooh, Titus carries a lot of speed through that also treacherous corner here in the castle section, and he is out of that slower section onto the two fast left-handers. He takes the first one superbly, the second one without incident, and he's going to have to nail his braking zone gear. We saw Enlevo kiss the wall, but not Titus. Not in this instance. He will complete the second sector, will Titus, with a time of 119.043 as a huge moment and crashes into the wall. Oh, just before the fast corners onto the final straight. Titus totals almost that Aston Martin. He will have to send it all the way back. And as, of course, the fans cheer him from the stands on his return back to the grid, it's not such a smooth one for Titus. Romeo, a.k.a. Mandla, what can he do? He's on the main straight now. The quickest time is a 142.5. What can Mandla do for Alpha Tauri? He will cross the line. P4, 145.115 for Mandla. So definitely some work to do. Titus was going quickest in Sector 2, says Charlie 3 stats, Charlie 3000. Unfortunately, Titus sent it into the wall and could not set a proper representative time. Cepiso, he likes coming out on track and setting representative laps quickly. He was among the first to come out. It looks like he might be the quickest through Sector 2, according to the track map. Purple for Cepiso, for the Ferrari driver. Let's see what he can do now. Get a sense of how quickly he's taking this section of Baku. So treacherous, of course. We've already seen Titus send it into the wall, but not Cepiso. He will look to challenge the top runners. but it looks like it might be a time of the 143. No, indeed, it's a 144.312. P4 for the Ferrari driver. Mandla is out. Mandla looks to have totaled his car in Sector 2. If I look at the track map, Mandla is out. Oh, man, all they needed to do was just set their representative time and come back into the pits, but Mandla joins Liddy, having crashed out of Q1. About 8 minutes 45 seconds of this qualifying session to go. Mandla and Liddy T are the two drivers that are out of this session. What about Brown Boy? He's looked oh so comfortable since coming into Tier 2. Has already got a podium finish to his name by virtue of that third place finish in Belgium. He finished 7th in Monaco, and he finished 6th in Jeddah. What can he do here today? It's a reduced grid, so he has a higher chance to get that decent result, possibly a podium, possibly a win. Knowing Brown Boy, he will aim for nothing but the very top. He finishes Sector 1 with a 35, a time in the 35.5 seconds. It's purple. He looks to be really on the verge of potentially challenging Cicle and in level. We've seen the castle section claim its fair share of victims already. Will Brown Boy be among the fallen? Ooh, carries a lot of speed there through the castle section. Almost has a moment with the wall, but came out unscathed. He lost a bit of speed, had to get off the throttle coming out of that corner. Here comes Brown Boy, the absolutely fast double left-hander. He's going to have to nail his braking zone now. Be careful of the wall. No such issues for the Red Bull driver. The end of Sector 2 for Brown Boy. What will that be? Will it be in the 118? It's a 117.5. It's a scorching lap from Brown Boy. A potentially P1 in Q1. Well, we'll see. He comes through the left-hander, the right-hander, unscathed, so close to the wall. It's Brown Boy on his first representative lap with 7 minutes of qualifying to go. He opens up that rear wing, sends the Red Bull screaming down towards the line. What will it be? Brown Boy across the line with a 142.051, significantly quicker than Cicle, and he tops the timesheets in Q1. A fantastic effort by the Red Bull driver, whose teammate Lungs has sort of done an in and out, has kept on abandoning his hot lap attempts. So Brown Boy is showing what the Red Bulls can't do here today. Lungs, it's on you now. Bad Kobe is here. So McLaren will not be down in the dumps too much emotionally because of that one lost car. Let's see how Loveness fares. It looks like he might have been quickest by the end of Sector 2. Oh, so much speed he carries, does Loveness. Let's see how he fares now. Alfa Romeo, Sector 3, main straight, opens up at GRS. He's playing a lot to the left. For a second, I thought he might have thought of abandoning, but no, not Loveness. His representative time will be good enough for P3, a 143.509 for the Alfa Romeo driver. Loveness with his trademark aggression. And, of course, his trademark speed is good enough for P3 out here on his first attempt in Baku. Bad Kobe is out on track, but unfortunately for him, has invalidated, so we'll have to go all the way around and bring it back home for Bad Kobe. Lungs is still in the pits. Bad Kobe, or rather Kaboza, is, going according to the Liddy playbook, and he's out on a set of intermediate tires. Not sure if he's just getting a feel and a sense for the track before giving it a proper attempt as far as fast laps are concerned. So, Kaboza is out on track, but needs to bring it back home safely. Intermediate tires, it is quite alarming, definitely. Now, Bankobi is, of course, invalidated. He's trying to bring it back home. Brown Boy is back in the pits, having set the quickest time thus far, knocking Cicle down to P2. Loveness currently sits third, and he's on his way back to the pits is Loveness, currently in third place. And Lebo is fourth with that 143.5. And Gawako, a.k.a. D-Wax, is P5, asking Stan to Piso. The sole Ferrari represented here today, 144.3, was good enough to put him in P6. Titus, making his first appearance of the season, is in P7, asking Stan. Kaboza is 8th. He set that time at 159. On those inners did Kaboza, and he's just sitting comfortably in P8. Lungs is P9, M. Shengu is currently P10, and then Bankobi rounds off the rest of the grid. Now, M. Shengu, let's see what he can do. Top on board with the Mercedes driver, carrying the hopes, the dreams of Malusi the Malusi, his fellow teammate, a little wide through that particular apex, heavy on the curve. But according to the track map here, he might just be the quickest man on track. We'll have to check and verify that. 3 minutes, 50 seconds of qualifying to go. What can M. Shengu do on behalf of Mercedes and Mercedes? Oh, has a bit of a moment into the castle section there. But he manages to keep it together. Remember, the likes of Brown Boy, by the end of Sector 2, set a time in the low 1 minute 17. So that is the benchmark for M. Shengu. If, of course, he were to challenge Brown Boy for the quickest time thus far. Doesn't look like that'll be the case. He will cross the end of Sector 2 with that 118.8. So, some work to do in the final sector for M. Shengu. What'll it be for the Mercedes driver? Carries a lot of speed through those fast corners as he looks to point that car towards the main straight and send that Mercedes W13 hurtling towards the start-finish line. It's M. Shengu, it's Mercedes, it's the rear wing open, and it's P5, 143.659 for M. Shengu. M. Duduzi is, of course, his name, if you want to get to know him a little personally. Well, M. Shengu also has his work cut out for him as far as the season is concerned. Only 2 points finishes thus far. He finished 10th in Monaco and finished 8th in Jeddah. So he does have points on the board, but he will want more. And today is a fantastic opportunity. What about Bankobi? Now, he will need to respond to that invalidation earlier. There's a yellow flag in Sector 3. Looks like Bankobi's lifting off here. Yeah, he's definitely lifting off. He might just want to cross the line anyway, just to set that banker lap to have his representative time clocked. And, yeah, opens up that rear wing. And, yeah, he weaves and bobs left and right. He's just going to set that time. And it'll put him P9, 156.478. Everyone is sitting pretty much comfortably back in the pits. They see no need to risk the car. Bankobi misses turn 1 altogether and retires from this session. Out on track, interestingly. Out of fuel, out of petrol, says Malusi the Malusi. He abandons his car there as a result, and yeah, Mshengu's making his way back to the pit lane here. His time is good enough for P5, so he slips right between Enlevo and D-Wax. Tapiso is opted to retire his car in the pits, and perhaps, well, we'll get a stream of retirements now just to speed up the end of this Q1 session, topped by Brown Boy. Have we seen the best of Seakley? What do you guys reckon? Let me know in the comments. Have we seen the best of Seakley, or will Brown Boy be there and thereabouts, fighting for that top spot? Now the drivers are kind of hastening the rest of this Q1 session and looking to move with haste to Q2 and beyond. Some welcome back messages from for Titus from the likes of Nkasana. And Brown Boy's looking good. Charlie 3 Stacks. Charlie 3000 reacting to that scorching effort by the Red Bull driver. Yeah, Caboza was on inters. Caboza is playing the long game, just saving his tires. He knows that there are quite a few drivers on the grid, and if he can just keep it together, he'll be safe in Q2 as well. And, well, he will then start fighting with the freshest set of tires overall. I suppose that is possibly what Cabozo might be thinking here. Charlie 3 Stacks is saying, boys, they're not trying to miss the Bayern versus Barcelona game. Malusi the Malusi reckons there's definitely still some pace that we're going to see here. Now, in Tier 2, we saw times in the 1 minute 40s. Smirch Django and the 86er, I believe, were the two drivers to set times in the 1 minute 40s. So we still have a lot of time to find here as far as this grid is concerned. Brown Boy tops the timesheet. Seakley P2, Loveness in that third quickest slot. Enlevo, Mshengu, and D-Wax make up P4, 5, and 6 respectively. Tapiso for Ferraris P7, Titus 8th, Bankobi 9th, Caboza 10th, Lungs 11th, and Romeo, a.k.a. Mandla, and Lodi T unfortunately DNF'd, thus ending their participation in the rest of this qualifying session. Smirts Jago, Smirts Sapanda says, well, we'll see the true pace in Q3. I'm pretty sure where Smirts is watching. He has a very close watching brief. Smirts Jago, of course, has ambitions of being among these drivers of the top tier and showing them what he could do. And, well, I'm pretty sure Smirts will be smiling ear to ear if they do not either match or improve on the time that he set yesterday for a pole position in Tier 2. I'd love to hear from you what you reckon the time will be by the time we get to, or the quickest time will be by the time we reach the end of this qualifying session. Well, these are your 11 warriors. Essentially, one is getting knocked out if they all make it to the end of Q2 with their cars intact. It'll be Tapiso, D-Wax, Titus, M. Shangu, Ban Kobe, Lungs, Loveness, and Nevo, Kaboza, Brown Boy, and Seaway. Now, just one will be knocked out as we move forward to this third and final qualifying session. 15 minutes these drivers have to set a time here in Q2. So let's see what they can do. Tapiso, as usual, is out on track, not wasting any time as the Ferrari driver. He's finished the points twice thus far this season. Finished 6th in Australia, and he finished 7th in Jeddah, did Tapiso. Yeah, so he's definitely got his work cut out for him, and despite the disruptions to power and all that, he makes sure that he is on track to take advantage of any opportunity to pick up those oh so precious championship points. Perhaps that'll be the case for Tapiso today, as he makes his way now through the castle section. Ooh, played it quite close to the wall on the left there. And he's going to look to get as much temperature into those tires as possible. And we'll get a sense of how that'll pan out towards this quicker section of the track. Tapiso picks up speed. Looking to, of course, get that temperature up to its optimum working window. And he's one of the 5 drivers currently out on track, and Tapiso will be the first to set that representative lap. So we'll see exactly how he fares. He currently sits 8th in the driver's standings, does Tapiso, with 14 points. Now he will begin his first representative lap in Q2. Crosses the line. How will he take turn 1? Oh, the wide goes straight into the wall coming out of turn 1. Oh, man. He carried too much speed and sent it straight into the wall. But thankfully for him, it's just front wing end plate damage and nothing terminal as far as car condition is concerned. So Tapiso abandons that attempt as Titus is on the verge of beginning his... Oh, no, it's not Titus. In fact, it's D-Wax is on the verge. He's just crossed that start-finish line. He takes turn 1 cleanly. And marshals were quick to remove the debris from that Ferrari front wing. He goes quite wide through turn 2, does D-Wax. Let's see how that affects the rest of his lap, what kind of a time he can set this time around. If he can find himself in the 142s or higher this time around. A little bit compromised coming out of turn 4 there, but yeah, D-Wax will know he just has to keep it together. Do not total the car. Perhaps even go for a run. A longer run, perhaps, and maybe look to improve on his time by the end of his second hot lap. Does not carry as much speed as some of the drivers coming through that castle section. Was in 3rd gear coming out of that left-hander. Picks up speed for the double fast corner. Played it fairly close to the wall on the right there, but unscathed. It's the AlphaTauri driver. Has to nail that braking point. He gets it correct. almost 10 and a half minutes of the qualifying session to go. One of these 11 will be knocked out, so they know what they have to do. And they just have to make sure he sets a decent banker lap and then comes back into the pits to see how he would have fared. There's a Haas beginning their hot lap, and behind this man is Baku, so we'll see how he fares. D-Wax sets a 144.794. What about Baku? He's on the verge of completing his attempt. We'll catch up with one of the Red Bulls. Baku goes quickest, 143.708 for the McLaren driver. Is it Brown Boy on the verge? No, it's Lungs who's going to cross the line now. He's the quickest, 142.680. Finds himself among the top runners. Does Lungs. What about Cicle? Or Enlevo, rather. It's an outlast is coming back. Instead, let's see how Titus fares. It's Titus. It's Aston Martin. Will it be quickest? No, P2. 143.219 for the Aston Martin driver. So, Lungs tops the timesheets from Titus, from Baku, from D-Wax. The only four to have set a time, and as I say that, Brown Boy finally crosses the line, and he goes P3, 143.326. So we've seen Brown Boy already set a time in the 142s. Perhaps he's just setting that initial banker lap, and then he perhaps will come back into the pits. What about Loveness? Alfa Romeo driver. Crossing the line now, P2, 143.126 for the Alfa Romeo driver. And having set that initial representative time. Caboza is on an outlap. He's on the verge of completing his time here. But before we hop on board with Caboza, let's see what Cicle can do here. Championship leader. That rear wing is open, hurling towards the line. 141.524. The quickest time we have seen today thus far is set by none other than the championship leader, Cicle. And D-Wax is attempting to improve. He's going to cross the line. He does not improve. He's still at 144.794 for D-Wax. So definitely some work to do. Now, Caboza was on an alternate strategy as far as using tire use is concerned. He only set that banker lap on intermediates in Q1. Let's see what he can do now on those grippy soft tires. Caboza, on behalf of Williams, into the castle section now. Carries a fair degree of speed. Third gear down to second. And takes this left-hander from third gear. He's going to pick up speed for the double left-hander. And hugs the apex there. So close to the wall on the right, but no, close but no cigar, of course. No worries as far as totaling that Williams right now. Caboza looking good. What kind of a time will it be now towards the end of Sector 3 and thus the lap itself? So much speed through the left and the right-hander. Caboza, first representative time, you could say, of the day on a pair of soft tires. He opens up that rear wing, screams towards the start-finish line with 7 minutes of this qualifying session to go. Caboza will cross the line, P2, 142.672 for the Williams driver. Slots right in between Cicle and Lungs. And that's a decent lap. He's definitely not at risk as far as getting knocked out here. Just the one driver, remember, will get knocked out and retires from the session. Out on track. Well, he's pretty happy. He's not even going to drive all the way back. Will Caboza, he decides, well, I've had enough. As D-Wax has improved. D-Wax, of course, knew he was at risk of getting eliminated. But that improvement sees him come up to P7. It's a 143.478 for the AlphaTauri driver. And yeah, the driver is pretty much at risk. You could still say D-Wax is at risk, depending on what Baku, Shengu, Cepiso, and Enlevo can do. Speaking of Cepiso, the Ferrari driver who totaled his front wing on his first attempt is back out on track. Needs to set a time here, needs to put himself in contention for that battle for pole position. What'll it be for Cepiso? He passes that slow-moving car, and goes so close to touching the wall there. But of course, just using all those track limits, heavy on the curbs on the right-hander there. But he still keeps it together. By the end of Sector 1, it'll be 36.376 for Cepiso. So as things stand, not challenging the Sector 1 that C-Clay had put together. And let's see how much time he can make up through Sector 2. He went quite heavy on the curve there through that right-hander. There's a lot of speed, almost has a moment with the wall here in the castle section. Oh, an almighty spin hits the wall. That front right hits the wall. How much damage has he taken? He's wingless, is Tapiso. Has yet to set a time. And that wing has been absolutely destroyed through that castle section. So Tapiso will be kicking himself back for another front wing. Oh, man. He will not be thrilled with that at all, will Tapiso. So, yeah, those mechanics will have their work cut out for them. But as Tapiso does that, and Nebo, meanwhile, is navigating his way through Sector 2 here. He's in the castle section. Top on board. Ooh. Carries so much speed there. Really toying with the limits is the Haas driver. Taking the lead out of the playbook of C-Clay, of course. Into the fast segment of left-handers. Nails the braking zone. Oh, has a bit of a moment with the wall on the right there, but it doesn't look like he's lost too much time. The end of Sector 2 with a 118.4 so far. Let's see if he can challenge the top runners, or indeed if it'll be just enough for him to secure his spot in the top 10 shootout, and thus that battle for pole position. 4 minutes for all these drivers to secure their spot in Q3. He opens up that rear wing, does a double, sends it hurtling towards the start-finish line. He will cross the line in P5, 143.1. P5 for the Haas driver. Breathes a sigh of relief, and, well, he pretty much relegates the likes of Bankobi, M. Shengu, Tapiso, D-Wax possibly, to fight it out for that battle to survive this qualifying session and make it through to the top 10 shootout. Bankobi still in the pits with about 3.5 minutes of the session to go. M. Shengu is on his prep lap. Let's see what he can do now. And let's hop on board with the Mercedes driver. Malusi the Malusi is singing hymns, lighting candles, holding thumbs, all of the things, willing his teammate to success here and to a place in that shootout for top 10. And Shengu begins. How will he take turn 1? Circumspect, it's gear 3. He was a little hesitant there on the brakes versus the throttle, but he almost has a moment coming out of that second turn. He almost has a moment with the wall, but he's unscathed thus far. Passes the slow-moving Ferrari, making his way back to the pit. And what'll it be now for Mshengu? It's a fairly decent take of that apex into the right-hander. He's quite wide, but he manages to keep it together. Has a bit of a twitch, a bit of a moment towards the end of Sector 1. He's 5/10ths quicker, 35.8. 5/10ths quicker than his previous best time. Will he be challenging the top runners? His best was only good enough for P10 thus far, 144.2, but he's going significantly quicker so far. How much speed will he carry into this left-hander? Through second gear, and keeps it there, does not shift any lower. Looks to carry that stability into these fast corners. He picks up that speed. It's 7th gear through the first left-hander. He shifts up to 8th through the second left-hander. He's going to have to nail this braking point. And has a bit of a nudge against the wall there. And he will complete his second sector 1.8 seconds quicker, 117.5. It's a super attempt from Mshengu so far. Malusi will be grinning from ear to ear, holding thumbs, willing him on. He is unscathed through the fast left and right-hander. He points that car onto the main straight and will, no doubt, open up that rear wing and some CRS zone, kisses the wall a little bit, looking to gain whatever advantage he can gain, and it's P2 for Mshengu, 142.248. Slots in behind C-Clay, finds himself now in P2. Now, the last two drivers battling out for these spots are Tapiso and Bankobi. Let's see how they fare. Now, Bankobi is actually on the verge of crossing the line here. He was P10, but I think this will be the beginning of his representative lap. We'll catch up with Bankobi later. Tapiso has had some moments with the wall. Let's go, boy! Malusi cheering on his teammate, Mshengu, who slots into P2. by the end of Q2. Of course, one of these drivers will be getting knocked out. It's a battle to secure your slot in Q3. Now, without the wall bumps, Charlie 3 Stacks reckons Shengu could have been in the 141. Definitely agree with that. Here comes the Pico. Castle section, unscathed. In second gear through third, uses that third gear to gain a semblance of traction into the sequence of fast left-handers. He goes 7th gear through the first, into 8th for the second. What about the braking zone for Tapiso? He hits it, does not have that moment with the wall. He is a man who's become so accustomed with the walls on this track thus far. Does not quite hit the apex as tightly as in previous runs, but let's see how he fares now towards the end of this run. D-Wax is another loud on track. Tapiso hits the wall again. He's into the wall as he's about to point the car down towards the main straight. What'll it be? He opens up that rear wing. It's Tapiso. It's the hopes of Ferrari on his shoulders, and he crosses the line. He does not move past P11. It's a 143.7, but Ben Kobe seems, I'm not sure if he retired or if he crashed out, but Ben Kobe's McLaren is still moving, seemingly. And, yeah, Tapiso is out as things stand. Because Van Kobe looks to still be moving, so he might have retired by himself. D-Wax looks to have abandoned his attempt altogether. So, the drivers that are looking likely to take part in the Q3 battle are Seekway, Mshengu, Kaboza, Lung, Loveness, and Nebo, Titus, Brown Boy, D-Wax, and, it seems, Van Kobe. Now, Benuccio, aka Peace, asks, is Tapiso struggling with straight line speed? Might be the case here. We saw some drivers with a Tier 2 spectacle set their cars up specifically for straight line speed. Yes, of course, they did lose some momentum in the cornering sections, but they managed, of course, to take advantage of that straight line speed, which is so crucial on that run towards turn 1 and the second DRS straight after turn 2. So, yeah. We will see what kind of times these guys will put on in Q3 and what the true pace on this track really is. Expecting times in the 1 minute 40s. Will we even see times in the 1:39s, the high 39s, or even the mid 1 minute 39s? Time will tell. As we watch D-Wax bring it back home, back into the pits. And Gowacko partnered, of course, with Mandla, who unfortunately did not make it through to this qualifying session. The two AlphaTauris have a really good chance today to get a decent haul of points for the team in a reduced field here in Baku. Just less than 30 seconds before we get into the oh-so-tasty prospect of a Q3 shootout and the battle for pole position. It's Seekley who tops the timesheet in Q2 from Mshengu and Kapoza. Lungs P4 with that 142.680. Yeah, looks like Tapiso's the driver having been knocked out. So Ban Kobe will breathe a sigh of relief. Tapiso had those moments into the walls, so he will have to fight his way through this race from P11 will Tapiso. So those Ferrari drivers, rather the Ferrari crew, will have time now to make sure that Tapiso is well and truly ready. D-Wax is here. Titus, Mshengu, Ban Kobe are all here. Let's see how they fare. D-Wax, thus far this season, has racked up 10 points. In fact, 3 drivers are currently tied on 10 points. That is D-Wax, Mfundo, and Nlebo, P10, 11, and 12, respectively. Tapiso is in P8. Lungs is in P7 in the driver's standings. Brown Boy is P6. Tapiso is Tepo Temba, rather, is P5 in the driver's standings. Zotal is currently 4th. Malusi the Malusi is currently 3rd on 49 championship points. Josh, aka Damn Nisha, is 2nd in the driver's standings in this championship on 60 points. And the championship leader and, of course, defending champion CK tops the standings on 96 points. A 36-point advantage for Sikle already in this championship. Let's see who's packing the heat tonight, says Malusi the Malusi. Nucha reckons Sikle a 139 to 140 or even better. That's what Nucha reckons this man can do. He, of course, wastes no time. He will be among the first to set his representative lap. Ban Kobe and D-Wax are already out on track. But we'll hop on board with the championship leader Sikle to see how he fares and see what kind of a gauntlet he can lay down. Van Kobe from McLaren has had a sort of mixed season thus far. 2 DNFs and 2 finishes in the points. He finished 5th in Monaco, did Van Kobe. Had, of course, that huge consequential battle with Zotal towards the end of that race. And he finished 10th in Jeddah to gain that solitary point. So Van Kobe finds himself, as things stand, in P9 with those 11 championship points. Now, he will be among the first to set a time, but we will actually watch and see how this man fares. As well, of course, we will get a sense of how